Let's shift gears to a little bit more negative of a topic, but it is important that we talk about these players. We have to talk about the busts. As excited as we are about certain guys, there are also guys that we're negative about, that we're not so sure. We're not really confident that they're going to deliver this season. And so Harrison, will bring you back here to talk about busts. And off the bat, you think about, all right, who are some of the young players? Do we buy into him? Like, is Zach Wilson? Is he going to take a step this year, or is he truly a bust in New York? Devin Singletary, he's kind of had an up and down career. Now the Bills have some other options. So will Devin Singletary be a bust this year? DK Metcalf without Russell Wilson. Tyreek Hill with Tua. TJ Hawkinson. There's some other weapons in Detroit now. What about Kyle Pitts without Matt Ryan? So, Harrison, I'll let you jump in first. And who do you think is a bust that you're avoiding this season?
So my first guy that I'm avoiding is, like we talked about before, guys going into new situations. Are they going to excel or maybe underperform from what they've done in the past for fantasy? And for me, that guy is Amari Cooper, who I think is going to underperform in his new role. Now, the Browns are already a really run heavy team in the past. We know that that's what they want to do. And now it looks that most likely Jacoby Brissett will be their starting QB for the season. That really limits Cooper's red zone usage, in my opinion, and then also his big playability. The Browns have never had a 1,000-yard receiver with Kevin Stefanski as their head coach, and Brissett has also never had a 1,000-yard receiver in the 2 seasons that he has started at QB. I think this trend is going to continue, and I really don't like the outlook for Amari Cooper this year to finish where he's being drafted right now.
Yeah, I really only trust Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in Cleveland. Other than that, I'll probably avoid them overall. And even with Chubb and Hunt, it'll be more, all right, if that guy slipped to me a little bit, if one of them slipped. So yeah, I understand that take, and it seems the Browns are icky. It's an icky situation. So I'm avoiding that. All right, so the big bust for me, and I have to even go back to when this player was drafted. I have not been on the bandwagon from the get-go, except he's shown glimpses that made me look bad and question, all right, maybe I'm wrong, but it's Kyler Murray. And even though he does have incredible performances, his quickness is as good as anybody. I mean, he's just a quick quarterback, but I still think he's too small. I still think he's uh, injury prone, risk, kind of a risky from an injury standpoint because of the way he plays. And then also the way that things kind of ended last season in Arizona was weird. Like, what was going on in the playoffs? And or was it the last game? Whatever the last game he played. And then Colt McCoy was there. It's just weird. I'm like, what are we doing? And it was hard to get clarity there. And then even in the offseason, wondering what's he doing with his social media. So there's that side of just who Kyler Murray is. Well, then throw in the fact that this season, DeAndre Hopkins is going to be out for 6 weeks to start the season. So if you're drafting Kyler Murray, you're already at a disadvantage. And for whatever reason, people still seem excited about Kyler Murray, and he's still kind of up there in rankings. But last season, from week 12 through the end of the season, Murray was QB 17. He averaged 25 total fantasy points with DeAndre Hopkins, which is okay. That's good. That's solid, but only 19 without Hopkins. So if we're talking about a quarterback scoring less than 20 points without, Hopkins, which is what that's the situation he faces the first 6 weeks. No, thank you. I'm out. And so, yeah, he averages only 237 passing yards and 1 touchdown per game without Hopkins. And so the inconsistency, it's just really not worth the risk for me. And so I'm passing on Murray. And I think those of you that draft him, you will experience the bust of Kyler Murray, not the Hall of Fame bust. I was up in the Hall of Fame a few weeks ago. They're not making a bust for Kyler Murray. He's the other kind of bust. All right. Who else for you jumps out as a bust this year?
So another guy for me is downgrade at QB this year, in my opinion. You mentioned him before, Kyle Pitts. He had a lot of hype last year coming in as this superstar tight end to Atlanta. Only caught 1 touchdown pass last year, though, and finished decently, but the touchdown upside really limited him. Now he comes into this season with a downgrade at QB with Marcus Mariota or Desmond Ritter, whoever they choose. They're not going to be throwing the ball as much as Matt Ryan did. There's more competition for targets now as well. They draft Drake London. They trade for Brian Edwards, which he hasn't been great in his career, but is still a guy who is better than anyone they had on the roster last year. I don't think he's going to get the same number of targets. I don't think he's going to get the quality red zone targets that we want from tight ends either. But he's going even higher than he did last year. He is going as the tight end 3, ahead of guys like Kittle and Waller and Dalton Schultz and Zach Ertz, guys who've already proven that they can perform. I just do not see the appeal with Kyle Pitts going as the tight end 3. I think there's no chance that he finishes that high.
Yeah, Atlanta. So I like I said earlier, you gotta sometimes take players on bad teams, and so I still believe in that philosophy, but Atlanta, too much uncertainty for me. It's just I don't even know where to begin there because in Houston there's some consistency there. Like Davis Mills is the quarterback there, so we have some understanding. I was talking about Marlon Mack earlier, but in Atlanta, who are their wide receivers? I don't know what they're going to, who's going to run the ball. Is Patterson going to be the guy again? A lot of question marks. So I'm with you on that. Just to go back to what I was talking about, Kyler Murray, their last game last year, they were actually in the playoffs. When I said that, I go, wait, they were in the playoffs last? They were the wild card team. They lost 34-11 to the Rams. And so that leaves a bad taste in your mouth if you're Arizona. So again, another reason I'm out. 11 points. Kyler, where were you then? If we can't count on you in the NFL playoffs, I can't count on you in my fantasy season, let alone my fantasy playoffs. So you're a bust. Dude, that's not very nice. That's hurtful. Come on, Bryce. All right. The other guy that I also have been hesitant, even though I loved what he did at Alabama when he came in for Jalen Hurts, and it was remarkable. And Tua Tagovailoa was amazing at Alabama. But I haven't been able to grasp the transition into the NFL where he translates, where he kind of resonates in the locker room. Where is he the guy that's going to make players better around him? Do the Dolphins fully buy into him? I don't think they have yet. Maybe Mike McDaniel does, and that's why he took the job as head coach, and maybe he gets the most out of him. But as far as I'm concerned, from a fantasy perspective, I'm not buying the hype. I'm leaning on the bust side. I understand he's got weapons. I know he's got Tyreek Hill. I know he's got Jalen Waddle. I understand Mike Gesicki is the tight end that we keep dreaming is a top tight end, but he leaves a lot to be desired. So for Tua, there's some talent there. There is some talent around him, but I just don't see him putting it all together. And especially with a first-year head coach, an unproven head coach. And I told you on a couple episodes ago, I'm not a big Tyreek Hill guy anyway. So I'm out on Tua, and I'm going to have to go the other direction. He really, the question for him is, can he throw the ball down the field? And he only averages 6.8 yards per attempt in his career, and he only had 100 and almost 81 total fantasy points in 2021. And so he averages under 14 fantasy points per game throughout his career. So he's yet to show it. I can't buy in just yet, and I probably never will. So there you go. Those are my two quarterback busts. We heard his Harrison's too as well.